Ayan. So, hello, good day. This will be our first topic for semifinals, and it's about strategies for global expansion. So, for example, your business is already a multinational company, or let's say, for example, it's already a national company, and you decided to penetrate in a global perspective. So, for instance, si Jollibee, di ba nationwide na siya? So, kumbaga saturated na yung market and na-enter na rin niya yung stocks. So, for its expansion, it is now putting up branches worldwide. So, hindi kasi basta-basta yung pag-enter ng foreign market. In the first place, they have a different culture, they have different laws. Ayan. In addition to that, let's not just talk about Jollibee. Meron talagang kasing law or theory na kung saan, ang tawag ito, yung isang country, pwede siyang mag-produce ng isang product or service, let's say product or service na wala dun sa isang country. And vice versa. So, meron pa rin talagang room kung saan, for example, ang Philippines ay tropical country. And masagana sa atin ang agricultural products like mangoes, watermelons, diba? Ang tatamis ng mga fruits natin. Because of our geographical setting, yung mga ganitong fruits ay available lang sa mga tropical countries. Pero sa ibang bansa, let's say for example sa mga desyerto or sa mga northern countries, hindi available yung mga ganitong fruits. So that is one of the, opportunities for global expansion, one of opportunities to export products. Ayun, okay? So, sabi nga natin, hindi mo yan mapipigilan kasi merong isang country na nangangailangan ng isang product or service na wala siya, na kayang bigyan or punan ng ibang countries. Okay? So, we will be talking about different strategies for global expansion. So, we have different entry options. First could be exporting. So, ano yung exporting? It minimizes the risk and allows testing of products in foreign markets by shipping goods from the home country. Kumbaga, nag-export lang tayo ng produkto natin. Example, yung mga mangga, 'di ba? Mga mangga, dried mangoes or other produce na pwede nating i-export sa ibang countries. Walang masyadong risk. Okay? So, ayun yon. Yun yung part. Yun nga lang, ang mga iba kasing mga loko-loko dahil gusto nilang makaligtas or siguro ayaw nilang magbayad ng taxes or i-evade ang customs. Minsan, iba yung dinideclare nilang product. Kaya yun yung mga sinasabi nilang smuggled goods na hindi dumaan sa tamang proseso. Yun yung mga hinuhuli na bigla-bigla na lang marami tayong import, biglang may barating na pagkadami-daming agricultural products like onions, ganun, or whatsoever na nakukuha or nahuhuli ng ating customs kasi hindi talaga dineclare yung totoong product. Siguro kasi nga, again, gusto nilang makaiwas sa mga fees, mga importing or exporting fees. Yun yung against the law. Kasi una din sa lahat, maaaring yung mga pinapadala dito na ganun is hindi safe, maaaring hindi siya pumasa sa standards, and pwede tayong magkaroon o maging harmful, pwedeng maging harmful sa ating mga consumers. Kaya yun yung isa sa mga problems na lagi nyo nakikita sa news ng mga smuggled goods, ganon. Okay, next one is licensing. So licensing grants rights to produce or sell a product in a host country useful for well-known brands lacking funds for direct entry. So, paano ginagawa yan? Example would be what? Si Dunkin' Donuts, isa siyang, alam niyo naman na international, multinational company. Ang ginawa niya, binigyan niya ng lisensya si Jollibee Food Corporation na under nila yung mga Dunkin' Donuts na products. Same brand pero under pa rin ng JFC. Okay, yung Dunkin'. So, yun yung licensing. Okay? So, parang, syempre may mga fees or may binabayaran si JFC kay Dunkin' Donut sa kada sales nila, ganun. Depende na rin sa kanilang agreement. Franchising, very basic, like McDonald's. Of course, McDonald's, a US fast food chain, has a strong presence in the Philippines through a franchise model. So this is enables rapid expansion with minimal investment, allowing firms to expand presence in countries with limited resources. Yung mga nanood ng movie ni McDonald's, nakalimutan ko na yung title. So doon nag-start umunlad or lumago si McDonald's. It's a franchising business model. Okay? Parang sa ngayon, kung hindi ka magma-McDonald's, pinaka-murang franchising, mga 30,000 ganun or 20,000 per instance yung pagbebenta or pagkakaroon mo ng food cart like Master Siomai, yan, pwede ka mag-franchise ng ganun. Kumbaga, bibilin mo yung buong package, kasama na doon yung training, yung products, ganun. Tapos, you can operate it on your own. As long as sumusunod ka doon sa deal ninyo or sumusunod ka sa contract ninyo nung franchisor. Okay? So, yun. Next one would be joint ventures. So, pag sinabing joint ventures, ito yung parang, mag-partner tayo. Parang, kumbaga, parang magpa-partner yung dalawang companies kasi strategic alliance siya. What I mean is, for example, si Company A, magaling siya sa engineering. Tapos si Company B, magaling siya sa marketing. So, pwedeng-pwede, strategic siya kasi kung mag-partner sila, pwede silang mas maging strong dahil kanya yung kumbaga nagko-complement yung strengths and weaknesses nila. Okay? So that is a joint venture. So one example in the Philippine setting, so ito si Walmart and Barty. Sa Philippine setting, yung kumbaga si Jollibee nakipag-partner kay Yoshinoya International Philippines. So Yoshinoya, it's a Japanese company. So para makapag-penetrate siya, nakipag-partner siya kay JFC to operate and expand the Yoshinoya brand in the Philippines. So in June 2021, si JFC nagkaroon ng 50-50 joint venture, ibig sabihin 50%, 50% with Yoshinoya. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, same sila ng profit, ganun. And malamang mag-share din sila about the technology, the employees, ayan, depende sa usapan nung dalawa. Joint venture yun. Kumbaga sa classroom setup, parang think, pair, share, parang ganon, na nagtutulungan kayong mag-partner. Okay, so next one is acquisition. From the word acquire, acquisition is acquire. To acquire is to buy a company. Ayan. So, acquisitions, ito yung nag-involve ng pag-purchase o pagbili ng isang existing company in a foreign market. So, medyo safe ito kasi hindi ka na kasi magbaback to zero. So, for example, mayaman ka naman or kaya mo naman bumili ng ayan. Kaya mo namang bumili ng isa pang mas maliit na company, acquisition yon. Okay? Instead na magpatayo ka mismo from the scratch doon. And besides, may mga iba kasing laws na hindi ka pwede talagang from the scratch. Okay? So, syempre, kasi kapag papayagan ka ng isang country na doon talaga mag-start, walang magiging benefit yung home country. Why? For example, ganito yan, no? Isa ka, kunwari ikaw kunwari ikaw si company A, and then gusto mong i-enter ang Philippine market. So hindi pa pwede na ikaw lang yung sole na pagmamay-ari ng company na yon. Hindi ka papayagan ng Philippine government kasi una sa lahat, pwede mong matalo yung mga existing Philippine businesses. Kaya nagkakaroon ng ganyan mga entry options para hindi naman matalo yung mga existing na local companies. So kung at least kung in-acquire mo siya, hindi naman kasi total na from ano yun, back to zero hindi. Pag in-acquire mo, at least ang mga nandoon is mga Pilipino din na mga empleyado or management. Yun. So, antag ito, kumbaga, in some other countries or maybe mostly in all countries, bawal talaga mag back to scratch doon kasi dehado talaga yung pag-expandan mo ng market. So, ito yung isa sa mga way, acquisition. Mag-acquire ka na lang ng local company doon. At least, hindi ka na masyadong mahihirapan mag-start kasi may existing empleyado na, may existing manpower na, may existing markets na. Okay, so example is Unilever, a British-Dutch multinational company. In-acquire niya si Selecta para magkaroon, Selecta is a Filipino dairy products company. Alam niyo naman yung mga ice cream para mag-gain control ng ice cream business sa Philippines. Pero kahit na ganun, ang mga empleyado or manpower ganun is Filipino pa din. 'Di ba? In-acquire lang niya, binili lang niya yung Selecta. So kumbaga, under pa rin siya ng Selecta products, pero ang nagmamay-ari na is si multinational company na si Unilever. Under na siya ni Unilever. Yun yung acquisition. Then greenfield development. So building new facilities instead of acquiring existing ones, offering more control but requiring higher investment, preferred by firms with advanced technology and product lines. So medyo dito sa taliwas ka acquisition, ito ay talagang new facilities siya, pero not totally malamang kasi again, yung sinasabi ko is magiging dehado yung pag-expandan mo ng market. So, example would be Cisco Systems, a US technology company partnered with Greenfield Development Corp to build a smart building in the Philippines, integrating internet technologies into the infrastructure. Ayun. So, yan yung mga different ways or entry options. Now, we have different stages of international development. So, stage 1 is domestic company. The company primarily focuses on its domestic market but exports some products through local dealers in foreign countries. An export department at headquarters handles all foreign operations. So, national siya, nag-export lang. Domestic company pa rin siya. Nag-export lang siya ng product niya. Nagpapadala lang doon. Okay. Stage 2, domestic company with export division. As exports grow, the company establishes its own sales company with offices in foreign countries to eliminate intermediaries and gain better marketing control. So kung dito si domestic companies, may mga intermediaries na may contact ka doon sa kunwari sa Vietnam, ano ka ng product mo, may contact ka sa Vietnam na siya yung magiging distributor mo. Pero dito sa domestic company with export division, ayan na siya, pwedeng magpatayo ka doon ng headquarters para direkta na malalampasan mo na si mga intermediate. Syempre, mas malaki yung kikitain mo kapag ganon. Then, primarily domestic company with international division. Continued success leads to establishing manufacturing facilities and service offices in key countries. An international division is created to manage most business functions conducted in foreign countries. So meron na siya, nagma-manufacture ka na doon. So kung dito is exporting lang na headquarters dito, nagma-manufacture ka na doon mismo sa country na yon. Then stage 4, with multi-domestic emphasis, the company becomes a full-fledged MNC, multinational company, increasing its foreign investments. Local operating divisions are established in host countries, and the product line is expanded with local manufacturing managerial functions organized locally. So for example, nagkaroon ka na ng headquarter, sa stage 3 ka na dito, no? International division, nagmamanufacture ka na sa Hanoi City, sa Vietnam. Tapos na dito naman sa stage 4, meron ka ng iba't ibang headquarters sa different cities. Like, hindi na lang sa Hanoi, meron ka na sa Ho Chi Minh City, parang ganon. Or sa iba't ibang mga provinces ng Vietnam. So, full-fledged ka na. And then, MNC, with global emphasis, the most successful MNCs adopt a global perspective with worldwide human resources, research and development, and financial strategies. Operations are denationalized with product design, manufacturing, and marketing based on global consideration. So, ang masabi lang natin, kagaya yan, si McDonald's, multinational company na siya kasi meron na siya sa Japan, meron na siya sa Philippines, sa iba't ibang countries, and very specific na ang kanilang mga products doon sa pinenetrate nilang market. Ganon din si Jollibee. Okay, so it involves research as well. Yeah, human resource, research and development. Because again, syempre, kailangan mong i-angkop yung mga products and services na ino-offer mo based doon sa pinepenetrate mong market. Ikaw yung mag-adjust. So, I just want to share with you an experience before. Like, alam niyo naman, si Tokyo, hindi naman talaga siya legit na Japanese cuisine. So, I have this student before na hapon, and then he wants to try the, Japanese cuisine. Ako naman, hindi ko naman kasi alam. Sinabi ko Tokyo. Tapos sabi niya, masyado siyang na-disappoint kasi sabi niya, this is not Japanese cuisine, sabi niya ganyan. Hindi daw ganun yung talagang luto nila. So, na-realize ko, ibig sabihin, yung cuisine or niluluto ng Tokyo ay nakaangkop lang sa panlasa ng Pinoy at hindi talaga sa mga legit na Hapon. Sa mga legit na talagang Japanese cuisine. Why? Because of course, sino ba talagang target market mo, 'di ba? Syempre ang mga Pinoy. So dapat mag-aangkop yung panlasa or mag-aangkop yung product sa panlasang Pinoy. Kung hindi, lalangawin yung hindi siya papatok sa market. 'Di ba? Yun yung one example, no, na dapat i-research din yung mga consumers na tina-target mo, lalo na kung foreign markets yung gusto mong pasukin. Yun. So, strategic alliances for international expansion. So, of course, you have shared values and vision. Successful alliances require a shared vision for joint value creation and alignment with business, corporate, and functional strategy. So, of course, this is one of the things that is challenging when forming alliances. For instance, let's say, for example, there will be an alliance between an American company and a Japanese company. It is kind of a challenge because the American culture, when it comes to work ethics, is kind of very different from the Japanese concept. Why? As you know, alam niyo naman, di ba, kapag Western countries or American companies, medyo flat organization sila. Very open, very outright kung makapagsalita or feeling nila, mas gusto nilang straightforward. Pero pagdating sa ating Asians, para sa ating rude na iyon. Lalo na sa mga Hapon, na very hierarchical ang kanilang organizational chart. When you say hierarchical, like, di ba, parang ganito dito sa Philippines, na kapag nasa boss ka, kung boss ka, dapat talagang, hello sir, good morning ma'am, ganito, ganyan. Magbibigay ka ng respect, hindi mo pwedeng i-bypass yung supervisor mo at hindi ka pwedeng pumunta sa mataas ka agad na boss. For example, si employee A, meron siyang complaint, may concern siya, meron nag-handle sa kanyang supervisor, tapos susunod si manager, right? Hindi pwedeng dumiretso kaagad ang employee na ito kay manager para mag-complain. Hindi. Dapat pumunta muna siya kay supervisor para mag-complain. Kasi hindi niya pwedeng i-bypass. Ganon kasi sa atin, sa Asian countries. Very hierarchical, di ba? Dito sa ating families nga. hierarchical na, let's say ang father is or of the parents would be the breadwinner, and lahat ng mga is masusunod. Kung sino yung pinakamatanda, kahit na may sarili ng family, masusunod pa rin yung lolo at lola sa mga decision making because it is hierarchical. But then in the US, tingnan nyo sa families, 'di ba minsan, ano ba yan, yung daddy nila tawag lang nila sa first name. Ganun kasi sa kanila, very straightforward. So there will be some kind of a conflict if there will be an alliance between the Western and an Asian country. That is one of the challenges na kailangan yun pagplanuhang mabuti. Because of course, let's say for example, a US company would acquire a Japanese company, and of course, the employees will be Japanese. So maybe the mode of managerial decision making or the mode of managing the team in the American style might be kind of rude or not accepted by the Japanese employees. So that's the thing. So there should be a shared value and vision. Okay, before you penetrate that market, alalahanin mo na ang iyong mga i-hire ay yung mga taga doon din. Hindi mo pwedeng i-impose yung mga nakasanayan mo sa home country mo doon sa ipe-penetrate mong market. Kaya nga, when in Rome, do what the Romans do. Sabi na, may ganong anong tawag dito? Saying na kung saan, kung nasa ibang country ka, gawin mo kung anong nakasanayan nung pinupuntahan mong country. Hindi sila yung mag-a-adjust sa'yo. Okay? Yun yung thing. Next, mutual dependence. Partners should have a clear understanding of their mutual dependence and the importance of alliance to both organizations, especially at the top management level. Again, mga top management ang magko-collaborate niyan. Okay? There should have a clear understanding. Dapat nagkakaintindihan sila kahit na magkaiba sila ng culture, magkaiba yung nakakasanayan, dapat pa rin sila eyeing on the goal para mas maging successful. And wag i-impose yung sometimes kasi pag top management gusto na lang i-impose yung gusto and not hearing from the other side. So again, there should be mutual dependence. Again, yung sinabi ko kanina, 'di ba? You need to partner, you need a strategic partner, a strategic alliance na kung saan huwag kang makikipag-partner doon sa parehas kayo ng strength. For example, kunwari sa thesis, di ba, choose your partner. Alangan naman magpa-partner kayong dalawa na parehas na, let's say, parehas na mayaman, pero hindi marunong magsulat. O yan. So, ano na mangyayari sa inyong dalawa? So, babayad na lang kayo or wala kayong magagawang output. Dapat makipag-partner kayo sa alam ninyong flow ninyo. For example, ikaw magaling kang magsulat, makipag-partner ka sa kaya niyang magtustos ng finances, lalo na kung mag-float na kayo ng questionnaire, siya ang gagastos ng printing, siya ang gagastos ng siya ang gagastos ng ng pamasahe nyo. Ikaw na lang yung magsusulat, o di ba? So at least may strategic alliance. That's just an example. Pag sa mga kumpanya naman, huwag ka, kunwari, magaling ka na nga sa engineering, makikipag-partner ka na naman sa engineering, magaling sa engineering or design, di wala, parang walang kang benefit. Magaling ka na nga dun sa side na yun, tapos makikipag-partner ka sa same. Dapat hindi. Dapat nagko-complement, no? Para parehas na mayroong patutunguhan. Okay? So there will be mutual dependence. Okay, next one is protecting core competencies. Alliance should contribute key strengths while protecting each partner's core competencies to avoid opportunistic behavior. Ayan nga, yung key strengths, yung sinabi ko. Protecting partner's core competencies. Okay. So, ayan, syempre, of course, hindi magka-partner na kayo, wag na kayong magkakaroon ng rivalry, kumbaga. And stakeholder acceptance. The alliance must be accepted by key stakeholders, both internal and external, to ensure its long-term success. So it's not only about the partners, but also the stakeholders, sabi dito, internal and external, within the organization and outside the organization, dapat merong acceptance dun sa joint venture or the alliance. So when you say expatriate management, ito yung tipo na, for example, kunwari, nag-work ka sa multinational company, tapos ipapadala ka dun sa isa nilang branches sa Germany or sa South Korea, kunwari. Ayan. So, doon ka mag-work. Pinoy ka, tapos na, let's say, nagkaroon ka ng managerial position in SOCOR, South Korea. So, isa kang expat. Yun. The thing is, there will be challenges in your part kasi baka ma-culture shock ka. First is inadequate cultural training. A significant percentage of international assignments fail due to cultural adjustment difficulties, highlighting the need for comprehensive intercultural training. So before ka before ka dapat na ipadala sa ibang bansa, alam mo dapat yung kultura nila kung paano ka mamuhay doon. Kasi again, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. Pag ikaw ay foreigner na nasa ibang bansa, kailangan ikaw ang mag-adjust. Okay? Next, selection based solely on technical expertise. Companies often select expats based solely on their technical skills, overlooking their adaptability and commitment to the assignment. Ayun lang. So, minsan kasi, pag talagang magaling si empleyado, technically, let's say magaling siya sa trabaho niya talaga, na-overlook yung kapasidad niya na maging adaptable. Kasi, maaaring ang isang tao ay magaling sa trabaho niya, pero hindi siya marunong mag-adapt sa changes. Baka nandun yung homesickness, andun yung depression, kasi lalo na kung nasa ibang bansa siya. So, no-overlook yon kasi no-overlook or hindi napapansin or hindi masyadong binibigyang pansin kasi para sa mga company, sa kanila, yung magaling ka sa technical things, magaling ka sa trabaho mo, kaya ikaw ipapadala sa ibang bansa. Ayun. So, yun yung isa sa mga factors bakit nag-fail. And repatriation planning, effective repatriation planning, including communication and mechanisms for sharing experiences, is crucial for retaining valuable global talent. So when you say repatriation, ibabalik ka na sa Pilipinas. Ayan. Repatriation. You are going to return to your home country. So, pinaplano din yan. Okay? Sabi dito, including communication and mechanisms for sharing experiences is crucial for retaining valuable global talent. Kumbaga, pinadala ka sa ibang bansa para mag-train or makita mo, pwede ka siguro mag-benchmark or may matutunan ka, and then yun yung i-re-echo mo or yun yung ituturo mo sa team mo sa Philippines. So, dapat merong solid na plan for you to share your experiences so that there will be learning. Yon. Kasi very important na hindi lang pala tao ang nag-learn, pati organizations nag-learn. Okay? Kagaya niyan, pinadala ka para matuto ka ng mga techniques siguro or strategies na nag-work doon sa South Korea, tapos idadala mo sa Philippines, babalik ka na. So, dapat kasama yon. Kasi useless lahat ng pagpapadala sa ibang bansa kung hindi mo na ituro ng tama yung mga natutunan mo from the other country. Okay? Next one, measuring international performance. So, of course, in strategic management, performance counts. Yan dyan yung financials. Ayan. So, currency fluctuations. Currency fluctuations can distort ROI calculations, making accurate performance measurement difficult. So, of course, nagpa-fluctuate. Minsan mataas ang dollar rate, minsan bumababa. So, yung pag-compute daw ng return of investment is nagkakaiba or minsan hindi na-hit. Accounting differences, as you know, siguro sa mga accounting dyan or financials, meron tayong tinatawag na IFRS and the GAAP. So we have different, ayan, merong accounting difference din dito pala sa efforts yun. Merong different ways, yung mga countries kasi nagwa-vary pagdating sa accounting principles or accounting standards. Okay, so medyo again nagko-complicate ng pag-evaluate ng performance when it comes to finances. So harmonization efforts, 'di ba yung sinasabi natin IFRS or International Financial Reporting Standards versus the GAAP, the Generally Accepted Accounting Principles, I think. Ayun. So, medyo kailangang i-merge. Ayan. The development of IFRS and efforts to merge IFRS and GAAP aim to create a more uniform global accounting system, but implementation has been slower than anticipated. So, gusto nilang mag-meet halfway siguro or makagawa ng isang system na medyo combined, kaya lang medyo nahihirapan daw sila. It became slower than expected. Alternative metrics, so since mahirap ang pag-measure ng ROI because of the different accounting standards, we have alternative metrics, which is the ROI or which is the budget analysis and historical comparisons to assess the performance of their international operations. Of course, so budget analysis, kung talagang yung budget is na kung sapat or over budget or under budget or nagamit ba ng tama yung inalat na budget for this specific product or whatsoever, right? So, doon na lang nila pwedeng i-base, and as well as the assessment based on the historical data. So, itong from year 2000, let's say from year 2020 to 2023 ba, paano yung performance? Pataas ba siya or pababa? Or bigla bang nagkaroon ng fall from 2023 to 2024? Anong pwedeng gawin? So, yun yung basis na lang nila ng pagme-measure ng performance. Okay? Next one, importance of international experience. So, expat assignments, long-term international assignments provide valuable experience. Sabi ko nga sa'yo, papadala ka doon, hindi dahil sa wala lang, hindi dahil sa mema lang, kundi para matuto ka, tapos pwede mong gawin dun sa home country mo. Cross-national teams, companies with cross-national teams and frequent communication have better product development capabilities. Why? Because, of course, kung iba't ibang countries or nationalities ang meron sa isang team, merong iba't ibang kalakasan yan eh. So, for example, meron kang team na nagko-compose ng Filipino, ng Indiano, ng US or Canadian or whatsoever. So, for example, si Pinoy, magaling siya sa communication, sa English, right? Si Indiano, carry lang, pero magaling din sila sa technology. Something like that. So, kapag nagkakaroon ng diverse set of members ng isang team, nagkakaroon ng mas magandang product or output. Okay? Product development capabilities. Okay? And mobile managers as MNCs organize around business units. Managers based at headquarters travel globally to work with country managers, becoming stealth expats. So, ayan, super galing mo na kapag pinadala ka, isa kang manager para ipadala ka sa ibang bansa at magmamanage ng foreign or a group of managers din. Kung baka ikaw yung pinaka magaling na manager sa buong mundo. Hindi naman. Sa lahat ng branches nila, ikaw yung ipapadala para maging nasa top nila, magmamanage sa mga ibang managers din. So, ayun, one example, I think, for example, yung anak ni Dean. So, ipapadala siya sa Germany to manage a team of managers na yung mga managers na yun ay iba't ibang nationalities. May Indian, may, I don't know, basta iba't ibang nationality, iba't ibang mga foreign managers, kumbaga, yun yung ima-manage niya. So, ibig sabihin, isa siyang mobile manager. So, ibig sabihin, super galing na niya pag ganun. Okay? Conclusion, navigating the global landscape, careful planning. Of course, implementing international expansion requires careful planning and significant investment. Of course, hindi mura ang mag-penetrate ng foreign market. Mahal yan kasi alam niyo na, hindi lang basta-basta. So, you have to plan ng mabuti. Adaptability and communication, you have to choose individuals who are very good at adapting to new environment. Medyo okay naman ang Pinoy pag ganyan. As you know, marami tayong OFW sa iba't ibang bansa. So medyo magaling tayo sa ganyan. Magaling mag-adapt. So wag lang mag-focus sa technical aspects or technical skills. Leverage global talent, promoting local nationals to managerial positions and utilizing individuals with an international orientation can help MNCs align with local cultures and achieve global objectives. So, again, promote, and then you can send them to other countries to learn, ayan, to manage other teams. That would be of great help. So that's it for topic 1. Anyway, this is included in your handout. So again, this is just the topic 1. I think we still have another topic that I will discuss. If you have questions, just comment on stream.